Hello and welcome to the March Report webinar. My name is Peter Kemp and I'm an attorney with Progressive Ag Law. Joining me today is Brian Strumman, a market analyst with Progressive Ag Marketing. Brian, what did you see in today's USDA report?
Well, it's a good question, Peter, and we were expecting the report to basically not say a lot. It's a report traditionally that does not have a lot of big changes in it. Expectations and estimates going into the report were that there would be a slight increase in the stocks for corn, soybeans, and wheat. The report came out, basically left corn and wheat alone, so maybe a little underestimated as far as what people were thinking, and there was a 10 million bushel increase as far as the U.S. Soybean stocks. So again, no big changes. You look at the world stocks, again, traders expecting those stocks to maybe show a slight increase, and they were all just slightly lower as far as the corn, soybeans, and wheat went. So not a big report today, not a lot of news in the report. And in addition to that, I think a lot of traders looking forward to the end of the month report, which is a much larger one from USDA.
So in the meantime, what would your advice be? Would it be to hold off buying or selling, or sell some puts? Do you have any advice for folks as they're trading?
You know, our thoughts right now, Peter, are that the market is at a near-term bottom. We don't see a lot of downside pressure from here. Expectations are that our expectations are that we can see a bottom come into the market, maybe see a slow climb, a little more upside potential as we move into spring. And a lot of times what happens is we end up with a weather scare here or there, and we'll see some market movement. So end users, our recommendations have been, if you're a livestock producer, to maybe go ahead and start locking in some of those needs. Selling puts is another opportunity, maybe to put a few cents back onto some sold bushels, and we'll see if we can get a bump in the market as we move into spring and summer.
Well, that sounds good, and now waiting for that March report and see what comes there.
We are. You know, the end of March report, certainly a larger one from USDA. They'll come out with their acreage numbers, production estimates, and it certainly has been a report that shows and gives us some market movement. So we'll see what that one says. But today's report, again, nothing earth-shaking.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, on the Progressive Ag Law side, we have been going around and holding meetings throughout the state of North Dakota. Now we'll be holding meetings in other states as well about the ARCO program. Now, in the 2014 Farm Bill, farmers were given the option to choose between three programs. One of those programs, the Agriculture Risk Coverage County Determination, or the ARCO program, has had a number of issues with its implementation. It is a revenue guarantee program, and revenue under the program is simply the statutorily defined price times the county average yield. Now, in determining the county average yield, we've discovered that many counties are coming up with yields that are wildly different than their neighboring counties and really out of sync with the reports that we're hearing from farmers and insurance agents in those counties. Indeed, when we've talked to some farmers, these reports have been about 15 to 20 bushels too high in some counties. So, PAL is partnering with Phipps, Anderson & Deacon, who are bringing this Syngenta lawsuit with, to make changes in the way that FSA administers this program. And we're inviting farmers to join with us in a lobbying effort to make changes, because when farmers can get together behind a cause, they can change the way that the FSA does something. This lobbying effort is pro bono, that is, it's free. And we are asking farmers to visit our website, progressiveaglaw.com or fixthefarmsubsidy.com, to learn more about the ARCO matter and our pro bono representation agreement. So.
Interesting, Peter. You know, and as we talk about the ARCO situation, any updates on the Syngenta litigation that you were looking at?
Yeah, we've got two updates. Number one, and what we get asked most often about, is the fact that ChemChina has now offered to purchase Syngenta. So ChemChina is a Chinese company, and honestly the irony is so thick that you can cut it with a knife, that a Chinese company is now buying Syngenta after it was Chinese rejection of a Syngenta product that caused this lawsuit. But the big thing that I want farmers to understand with the ChemChina buyout offer is that it does not change the question of liability. When a corporation purchases another corporation, it buys its contingent liabilities as well as its assets. And so ChemChina will be on the hook for the Syngenta liabilities if the sale goes through. The second piece of news is that in February, a judge in Kansas City ordered the plaintiffs and defendants there to confer and appoint a special master to help mediate settlement negotiations. And we think that that is a good sign for our case. Yeah, the Syngenta case really presents two opportunities for farmers. The first opportunity is for farmers to recover some of the money they lost when Syngenta gambled with the Chinese market and caused the price of corn to drop 11 to 50 cents when the Chinese began rejecting Viptera corn. That could be a significant amount of money for farmers facing down markets in the coming year. Now, the second opportunity is, I think, a more unique opportunity, and that is this is the opportunity for farmers to come in and set policies for these GMO producing companies. Now, we don't want every time a new GMO is released by somebody like Syngenta, we don't want at that time for us to lose new markets, because it doesn't matter how good a GMO is. If you can't sell it on the international market, it's not going to be beneficial for the U.S. farmer. So now, before you begin planting, we ask that you would consider appointing a lawyer to represent you in this matter. A class action certification hearing will be held late this summer, and if a class is certified, you will lose your choice in attorneys. So at this time, please investigate the Syngenta matter and investigate lawyers and find one to represent you. PAL, Progressive Ag Law, as we mentioned earlier, has partnered with Phipps Anderson Deacon to bring the Syngenta case and to bring these ARTCO matters. And I would like to present you with a short video explaining their experience in litigating GMO market closure cases.
My name is Martin Phipps, and I am from the great big town of Breckenridge, Texas. I grew up in a town I like to tell people had 3 stoplights. Those values you bring from a small town, being honest, telling the truth, and standing up and believing in something, is something that we do here at our firm.
I'm Barry Deacon. I'm originally from Arkansas, grew up in a family law firm. Farming's been a big part of my professional life in representing farmers and agricultural related entities my entire practice.
You may ask, why hire Phipps Anderson and Deacon? The best answer I give you is because we are so proud to represent farmers that it's the most important thing when you walk into our building and see what we do.
Part of my background was being involved in representing a co-op of rice farmers against bare crop science in the rice litigation that began in 2006. With my background in the rice litigation, that's important because that was genetically modified rice that was being experimentally tested that contaminated the U.S. rice crops. That litigation is very, very similar to the Syngenta corn litigation, where an unapproved trait was marketed to China.
What you're going to find out in this case is when Syngenta released Viptera to sell to you, they hadn't even applied to China for approval. Because of that, they took a risk, and that risk ended with you losing the China market. When you're choosing a lawyer to represent you in the Syngenta litigation, every lawyer is going to tell you that they're the best. We don't have to say anything to you. We just want you to look at our record. We are the lawyers who tried and won the rice case. We're the lawyers that developed the damage models. We're the lawyers that got the punitive damage verdicts. The rice case settled for $750 million. I'm very proud to tell you that my farmers, the people that I represented, got $50 million more than everybody else. We get asked every day, is this going to be a class action? And I want to make the answer real clear. We're not class action lawyers. We represent individual farmers against Syngenta and other big companies. And why do we do that? Because class actions don't help the clients. They only help the lawyers. Each one of you farm differently. Each one of your damages are different. So what we believe is we're going to represent you individually and not like some class action lawyer.
We are certainly not against the technology that Syngenta has come up with in producing their seed. We're actually for that technology because it's good for the American farmer. What we have a fault with is what Syngenta has done in marketing its corn. It's done it in an irresponsible way, and that has affected all of us.
I don't know about you, but we need more places to sell our corn, not less. And so all we're asking Syngenta to do is to stand up and do the right thing. The same thing you do every day when anybody comes to you with an issue. You may ask what makes us different at Phipps Anderson Deacon. The answer is simple: is we care. I've been on a combine and I know how hard it is to farm. And because I'm gonna make sure when I get done with this case and I come and sit in your living room, that you're proud that I'm your lawyer.
We are handling these cases on a contingency fee basis, which means we will not be paid unless we successfully try or settle the lawsuit, and we will pay all the costs of litigation. We believe in this case and are putting our money where our mouth is. So thank you for joining us, and please view the next webinar at the end of this month. Thank you.